16th, right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to July 16, 2025 council meeting for the Township of Muskoka Lakes. It is 1:03, I believe, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. I will acknowledge that there is a supplementary agenda. I believe it was issued yesterday. Hope everybody's had a chance to take a look at it. I will ask if anyone here has a pecuniary interest that they wish to disclose. I jumped the gun. Yeah, I have. But before I do that, of course, I'm going to verbally confirm that we have quorum. In fact, I believe we have all members of council present either in person or via Zoom. Also confirm that the CAO, the clerk, and other members of the senior management team are present. And I would also wish to acknowledge that we are on lands traditionally occupied by Indigenous peoples. Indigenous peoples have cared for this territory for the benefit of future generations, and their stewardship throughout the ages is recognized. Today's meeting is being live streamed, and it's being recorded on the Township of Muskoka Lakes website and its YouTube channel. And by participating in the open public meeting today, you are consenting to your image, your voice, and your comments being recorded and posted online. As we always do, we invited any kind of commentary on the agenda at our hotline, which is TML public comment at muskokalakes.ca, but we received no comments this time around. There is a supplementary agenda, and it was included to add the following three items. Number 1, 11 sub B, general and other planning bylaws. Number 6, bylaw 2025-082. Number 7, bylaw 2025-083. And number 8, bylaw 2025-084. So that having been completed, I do have a question. If anyone has a disclosure, a pecuniary interest that they would wish to disclose at this time based on the information that's contained in the agenda. Does anyone have one? Have anything? I'm seeing none, so I will identify one for me. I will be recusing myself from the entire closed session. I'm a neighbor in close proximity and as such have a pecuniary interest and a conflict to declare. Just by way of explanation, the motions that you will hear have been pre-populated with random movers and seconders, and that's done just to expedite the meeting. And voting, I'm going to ask that all members physically raise their hand until I have confirmed the vote. If the vote is unclear, we'll ask for a verbal vote to be recorded by the clerk. And in those circumstances, that verbal vote will not be considered a recorded vote. Okay. So we'll move on into what on the regular agenda is numbers 4, 5, and 6. I don't believe there's any invited presentations, delegations, nor are there any public comments to discuss. So we'll skip past that and into the consent agenda. First one that we will talk to, I will read the resolution. It's or not read the resolution, but it's a consideration of a resolution to approve the following minutes and action items. Number 1, June 11, 2025 General and Finance Committee minutes and action items 1 through 9. I have a resolution that I will read. Oops, thank you. I will read. Moved by Councillor Zavitz, seconded by Councillor Roberts, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council adopt and enact the following minutes and recommendations contained in the July 16, 2025 consent agenda and direct staff to proceed with all necessary administrative actions. Number 1, June 11, 2025 General Finance Committee minutes and action items 1 through 4 and 7 through 9. Number 2, June 11, 2025 Council minutes. Number 3, June 12, 2025 Planning Committee minutes and action items 1, 2, and 4 through 10. Number 4, June 23, 2025 Special General Finance Committee meeting minutes and action item 1. And finally, number 5, June the 23rd, 2025, special council meeting minutes. Anybody have any comments or feedback on any of those in the consent agenda package? I'm seeing none. I will call the question. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Now, I believe we had something pulled, two pulled for discussion here. And the first one, and I'll read the resolution just to get it in play, and then we can have a discussion about it. It's moved by Councillor Burry, and it was seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that the mayor and council adopt and enact the June 11, 2025 General and Finance Committee action items 5 and 6 as follows. First, that committee approve option 2 as outlined in staff report OPS-2025-30, and that staff do not proceed with constructing a dock or parking at this time and report back to committee with further options. So, sorry, I'm going to turn this to Councillor Burry. You asked to have this pulled, and I think we would all benefit from your explanation as to why.
So I asked for it to be pulled because I thought that there may have been more than just me confused as to the backlot piece and the deteriorating old fire station and the piece that was abutting the water. And I guess it was pretty clear this morning. I'm opposed to selling any asset that abuts the water, but recognizing that this particular property does not have anything abutting the water and has been deemed by staff to be surplus with little, if any, possible use. I thought it might be good to pull it and have a more general discussion to see if maybe this isn't a way that we can start to rationalize some of the assets that at least we know we're not going to be using. Is that a fair comment?
I think that's a good comment. Thank you very much. Yes. Anyone else? Councillor Nishikawa, then Councillor Zavitz.
I would support that.
Thank you. Councillor Zavitz.
Interestingly, I was going to defer to my two friends to my right. So if they're going to support it, I guess I would.
Anyone else? I'm looking to see no one on Zoom. Anyone else with any comments or Councillor Mack?
The only thing I will say to that is in all of the conversations I've had with anyone on my point about this issue and the people who have contacted me, they don't want it sold.
Anyone with a comment or feedback, Councillor Burry?
Well, I'm just wondering why they don't want it
Well,
sold.
because they like the idea of
Sorry,
parking lot. Sorry.
You were going to respond to that? No. Through you. Go ahead. I'm going to try and maintain some control here.
First of all, the whole thing about not selling property. But the second thing is they want to be able to have a place where they can have a parking lot and have access to the water with their canoes and kayaks or whatever.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Roberts.
That does bring up a question. I don't know the area that well, but we're always talking about island parking. And I got a report that the Milford Bay Community Center is very well used for island parking on the weekend. Is there any chance that this property could be used for island parking? Or would it be feasible? I don't know who to direct that to.
Well,
Staff or
my recollection is that we covered that off, but in the staff report last month, but I may be wrong, so I will defer.
Please refresh my mind.
Sorry. Who wants to speak to that?
So through you, Mr. Mayor. So, the staff report did recommend, making a parking lot there. As far as usage for island parking, probably not, because there really isn't a boat launch that's in close proximity. We do own property across the road from this that is a road allowance that goes down to the water. But in the staff report, we mentioned that we couldn't really make that into a boat launch just because of the slope of it. So, but it could be used for access, as mentioned by Councillor McIntyre, for canoes and kayaks.
Thank you. I'm always looking for parking for Islanders.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
Yes, because the property across the road goes to water, I think we should keep it for the simple fact that we do have parking in the future. And that because, like I say, getting access to water in the future is going to be difficult. So if we have that, we've got it for parking. And they can always put a dock in there. You don't have to have a boat launch, but somebody could come and pick up guests and leave and that. So I think it would be handy.
Thank you for that. Any comment on that? Councillor Mazza, I think you had your hand up.
Question and through you.
Thank you.
I just need clarity from the resolution that was read about the recommendation from staff. I'm trying to go back to last month and I wasn't here, so I will qualify all of that. I think that staff's recommendation was to go with option 1, which was to sell the 2 properties. Is that correct? Not the one that goes out to the water? And I just wanted to be sure. I think that's what Councillor Boseworth and Councillor Burry asked to have pulled. Is that correct? Or did they say option 2? I just want clarity as to what we're talking about.
Director Peroski, can you help us with this?
Happy to. So the recommendation from staff was to proceed with option 1, which was to sell the 2 properties. And when we're talking about the 2 properties, it's the property across from the road allowance leading to water. It's divided into 2 properties. So it's just selling that as is. So that was what was directed or recommended by staff. At committee, you amended the resolution to go with option 2 and then provided further clarification on that. So option 2 is to demolish the building and create parking with access to a new public dock. So it was to proceed with option 2, but not to proceed with constructing anything until we reported back. So what's on the floor right now is what committee approved, which is option 2, but not to construct anything at this time. So if you do not want to proceed with option 2, you're going to want to amend this further. If you want to stay on course and go ahead with what committee decided last month, then you would pass the resolution that's on the table.
Councillor Mazza.
So thank you very much for that. That was very helpful. So I believe, and maybe I could ask my colleagues, I think are bringing forward the idea of revisiting that decision and maybe going back to option 1, which was staff's recommendation, and that is to sell those 2 properties, not the access to the water, but the 2 where the building are, correct? Okay. So if that's the case, staff had recommended that because they didn't see that this would be a recommended public access where we would develop that further in the future. I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but I think it's the benefit of the group is that this was not identified as a location that would be the best public access in the future for topography, et cetera. So maybe I could ask staff to address that for me. Mr. Moore, Mr. Director Clucci.
Director Clucci.
Thank you, through you. So, staff did identify, in the report to keep the waterfront portion and to sell the portion where the fire hall was. And that's, similar to what you said, that generally it's not identified in the rec master plan as a location for either a boat launch or for parking. But, we do understand that there is limited parking in Muskoka Lakes, but, this is sort of an area that's not, well used by visitors to the area. So, it would be used for parking by residents most likely. So if it was to be maintained, then it could be used for parking by residents in the area that don't have access to the water. But yeah, generally, I think you're correct in your assumption.
So,
Director Mazza, or Councillor Mazza.
so just let my last comment or supplemental, thank you, and through you, is that this has not been an identified location through any of our master plans or any kind of planning, whether it be our rec master plan and or transportation master plan as an ideal location for this kind of facility or asset. Is that
For you,
correct?
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask if this could come back to committee? I think that there's more of a conversation and I'm a little concerned that whatever decision gets made at a council meeting is kind of stuck. And I do believe there's an opportunity to look at even another option. And I just think not having all of the information in front of us and being able to point to, I wish we had a committee actually that I'm putting my housing hat on, for instance, and what could be here, like that sort of thing. I think that we could look at it a little deeper than just selling it. And so I don't know that that was an opportunity in the last conversation that we had. It just didn't feel like it, but, so I'm just asking, could this come back to committee? And in fact, I thought when we pull something, it was gonna get reverted back to a committee in most cases, so.
Thank you. And through you, I would support this going back to committee. I think staff have done a really good job of bringing it to us. And at some point, we're going to have to think about what are the strategic assets that we have and that we keep. And it's kind of, you know, the municipality is not responsible to provide parking for islanders. That's not a municipal responsibility. But I do think that you know, we should make sure that there's nothing else that we could use that property before selling it. But that at some point we do have excess assets and are going to have to make some difficult decisions around which assets we keep and which we don't. This one appears to be a relatively easy decision that we sell it. That being said, I would support bringing it back to committee so that we can have a wholesome discussion. If there are any, recognizing that we now understand we're talking about a landlocked piece of property, that we really do make sure that we're making the right decisions, and it may give us a template as we move forward for other kinds of sales, so that, you know, because this is the first that we're seeing as a potential sale, that we might have a template on what are the buttons that drive us. But if we could put some housing there, I don't know what else there could be, but I'd be happy to see it go back to committee.
Allow me for my own edification. When you say you wanted to go back to committee, you mean with more detail or more work done by staff to fluff out other issues? Because there's no debate that can happen at committee
No, I
that
think
we can't have here right now.
do the debate at the committee and not at the council, so that we're not pivoting at council. We take it back to committee, make sure we're making the right decision, and then send it to council. It's just going to be a month.
Councillor Zavitz?
Thank you, through you. So quite honestly, we could just do nothing. And what you described will just simply happen as a matter of rote, right? It'll just happen. We'll just, if you just leave it the way it is, if we're going to develop it at some point in time in the future, it will come forward in a much more fulsome manner. So I don't really think, I'm not sure why we would need to vote on this at all and just leave it status quo, personally.
Sorry, the decision that was made last month is now in front of us to ratify or not. And I understand that there may be a discussion to be had. I'm just trying to understand why going back and setting it back to committee for another month is going to change the discussion at all from what we could have right now. Councillor Edwards and Councillor Nishikawa.
I think we made that decision last month. We're not going to sell it. In the future, we could change our mind and sell it. It's still there. So we're not hurting anything by leaving it exactly the way it is. And that it was passed by committee, and to rehash it all again, send it back is fruitless, because in the future, we may want that land for parking so that people can use the waterfront part, and we don't get more water. So I would just leave it the way it is.
Councillor Nishikawa, you're next, and Councillor Kent, I see you. You're after Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you. I'm going to ask through you, and maybe you have the answer, or Director Pink, or CEO Pink. So if we have other ideas before, so housing opportunities or some other things that come up, I'm aware we have a trail not very far from here, and we don't have parking for that trail. So I'm just there's some conversations that have come to mind that could be observed and actually made better use of the property and in many ways clean up the area.
Thank you for that. Councillor Kent.
Thank you. I think that I support Councillor Burry's decision to push it back to committee, because I think there was some confusion when it was presented. And maybe I'm still confused because I don't have it in front of me. And that's part of the problem with bringing it up in this format, is without the details in front of me, I can't recollect everything that we had originally discussed. But I thought I didn't understand in full that these were two severable parcels. There's this property that we could sell, and then there's the land piece, the water access piece. And I thought that, I don't know that we ever discussed just selling the one. We discussed selling both of them, unless I'm wrong on that. Am I wrong on that, or
I mean, sorry.
there are
Director
two pieces.
Bozzi.
We can
There's
sell
three
one piece without and retain the water access sliver.
Director Procy, can you help me with this?
Thank you. Through you. There's actually three pieces that we're talking
Three
about.
pieces.
So
Okay. Right.
across the road, there are two pieces, one of which the old fire hall is located on, and then there's a larger piece around it. In the discussions at last month's meeting, the different property across the road, which is township property, it was actually a township road allowance that leads to water, became part of the discussion. But it's not part of what was discussed, or part of what was recommended as being sold. The two parcels are just the two that are landlocked, not on water.
Right. And so I think there was confusion, and maybe I was just one of the confused people, but we got complicated by the water access piece rather than just saying, should we sell this? We need to make some decisions related to the budget and other assets. And that's why I think it's worth just stepping back, looking at it one more time, and then proceeding with whatever decision we make as a group.
And
Because
go ahead.
Because I actually might support selling it and keeping the water access piece, which I really didn't understand was an option last time.
Okay, and just for the record, that's why it was pulled, so that we could consider that option.
Right. So I think we should put it back. Or make that decision today, but I just like having the details in front of me, Mayor Kelly, when we make that kind of a decision.
Thank you, Councillor Bosenworth, and then Councillor Roberts.
Thank you. One of the reasons we have a 1 month delay between recommending at committee and approving in council is to have some sober second thought about this. In this instance, at least in my mind, we've had two new possible suggestions for this, which I don't think were brought up in the committee meeting last month. And that is, thanks to Councillor Nishikawa, the idea that it could be used for housing, or it could be used something that's adjacent to a close by trail. And neither of those two were part of the discussion last time. Because of that, I think it might be worth going back to committee.
Councillor Roberts.
And thank you, Mayor, and through you. I agree with that last statement. Even if we're going to have a lot of properties come forward from the future, we can look at them as a whole and then decide. And maybe there might be a better place for a housing in the area, whatever. But we have other properties maybe. I don't know. So I support voting on what we suggested or proposed last month.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anyone else have a comment? They have a new Councillor Mazan.
Thank you, and through you. I think I liked what Councillor Burry said earlier, and I think that becomes a guidepost for us when we think about strategic investments and strategic divestments. And I think it's smart for us to take this back because I think is a need to make sure, as the first time we're having to consider or contemplate maybe selling, let's make sure we get it right as a group and everybody's feeling good and we have the right chance to do so. But I like that word because I think we're going to be tasked with thinking strategically as we think about, where we have properties, what we're going to be doing and how we prepare for the future. So, if committee or council is wanting to go back, I'd support that idea. And I thank you for bringing up that kind of thinking.
Okay, I have a resolution. I've already read this other one, didn't I? So we'll have to deal with that. No, okay. This is, okay, in place. I want to make one, or I need to have one thing clear. If we're going to send it back without any further direction for further study or analysis or a new angle or a new difference, what's going to be different the next time around? Are we going to ask staff to consider other possibilities? And if so, what are they? And do we have a finite list of them so that we don't come back here another month from now and say, oh, we thought of 3 more things? Councillor Bosenworth.
I would suggest that we have reason to ask staff's opinion on whether it could be used for some form of housing and whether it has, what's the relationship with this property and the trail, which I did not know about and wasn't discussed before. So that would be, I'd like to hear what staff have to think about that.
Okay, Councillor Edwards.
Yes, thank you. If I'm not mistaken, if we leave it the way we said it, we're not selling it at this point. We can always bring it back in the future with a staff report in the future. Why have to push it?
Yeah.
Because in the future, we may want housing, we may want parking. If we don't sell it, we've got that option in the future. So why does it have to come back right away with a staff report and everything else like that? Other options may come forward.
Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you. Where I was sort of going is similar to what Alan has been saying. And what you've been saying is how does staff get the information? And then, and again, that's why a committee is always good to sit and discuss the options, but I kind of get what he's saying, that 2 doesn't leave us in a bad position. But I will, and then again, do just individually, we go to staff to say, this is my idea today. Like that's where what I'm looking for guidance on, because I have some ideas and how does that, again, I'm used to working in a committee thing that you get to flush stuff out, and I don't know that I don't know what council can do.
Okay, Councillor Mazan. No, sorry, I thought you had your hand up.
Well, I did. Maybe I think you wanted to say something. I'm trying to shape my thoughts, so.
I'm willing to take 2 and move this on, sorry, and then I'll go to staff and say, how about we do this and bring it back to general finance?
I'm sorry, you're willing to take 2, meaning 2 minutes, like a break, or no? Oh, option 2. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we were taking 2. Yeah, CAO Pink, please.
Sorry, might help. I appreciate that you may not technically have to make a decision. There certainly we're not obligated to sell or not to sell, but keep in mind there is a building on the property that's been orders placed on it to prohibit occupancy. The roof is essentially caved in. I don't have the figure right in front of me. Mr. Moore, Mr. Colucci, correct me, but I think it's a substantial cost to repair that roof. If the decision is ratified now, I believe the procedural bylaw would prevent us from bringing the matter back for several months. And we're likely then, by the time any decision is made, could very well be into another winter season with an unsafe roof. So I think committee needs to be cognizant of that. I think staff certainly pleased or happy to report back in a month's time to keep the matter live so we don't have to wait 3-4 cycles. And we're happy to come up with other options. Obviously, there's a myriad of options. We tried to narrow those down to some key ones. I think what may have led to the confusion is one of the options of retaining the lands incorporated a use of across the street and the landing, and that a potential landing, but I think that may have confused things. But keep in mind that property exists today. There is no dock, so there really is no access, but it's always been available to the community, has been, and staff's not proposing to sell it, and that message is loud and clear. The other thing I would also note is keep in mind council is not subject to the Committee of Adjustment consent process under the Planning Act. So I'm hearing quite, 2 sides, so to speak, of perhaps retaining it or selling it. We could reconfigure the lands into 2 even parcels, dispose of half with the building. There seems to be some value in that in a market, according to our opinion of value. And you could retain a portion of land for a potential future use as well. So those kind of options with this discussion, staff's happy to come back, talk about, I don't know, I'm not entirely clear if it's housing developed by the municipality, or I think staff's intent was if it was sold, it would likely be developed into housing. But we're happy to explore that. The trail option is new, but we're happy to speak to Councillor Nishikawa offline and learn more, and report back, as well as potentially other options, as I suggested, perhaps a hybrid approach of retaining a parcel for potential future parking and water access use, but disposing half the property and incurring some proceeds, further to Director Donaldson's report earlier this morning about our deficit. So anyway, I hope that helps clarify.
Okay, thank you for that, CAO Pink. Anyone else have a comment or a question? Is this resolution still what we're talking about? Or are we going to be, by putting it back, we don't lose anything? Okay. Councillor Mazan, hand up, hand down, elbows up.
I feel like I'm confused and I apologize. I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding. If I'm hearing from staff that we can go back, I think we owe it to ourselves to do that. I don't know if that's what that's reading now or not. And I want to make sure when I put my hand up, I'm not inadvertently selling a property or, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure we've done this correctly. So I think that might have been the question you were asking as well.
Well, thank you for that. My concern is that we have to get better at this somehow. We have to get crisper at this. We have a lot on our plate. A lot of it hinges on assessing the utility and the value of certain assets and what are we going to do with them. And if we don't have the ability to take a staff report and turn it into action, we might as well just save the money and not do the studies. Staff did, I thought, an excellent job, reviewing all the possible actions. I think I can't even remember how I voted last time, but I think I supported this option that we have in front of us. There was some confusion. I think I may have been somewhat confused by it as well, about whether the path to the waterway went automatically or not, and that's why it got voted down. That option got voted down. But other than confusion, if every time we sit down to make a decision, somebody thinks of 3 new reasons that we might not make it, we'll never make them. So let's flip this back. I think there's enough people in the room who understand what it is we're looking for. We're going to close the list unless somebody has any more they want to put on the list. Nothing more to put on the list, and we've got a couple of expanded ideas for this particular property we'd like to see some feedback on. And then we'll bring it back through Planning Committee, correct? Or is that where it came from? GNF. Through GNF next month, and we'll be back here with it and hopefully able to close it off the month following. Okay, so I'll read the resolution that doesn't quite get us there.
Do you want to?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. So moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that the June 11, 2025 General and Finance Committee action items 5-6, 5 and 6, bracket report OPS-2025-30- Old Walkers Point Fire Hall be referred back to the next General and Finance Committee meeting for further committee discussion and information or analysis from staff on, number 1, the ability to use the lands for housing, and number 2, the potential parking for trails in the area. All right, so the other work that has been done, I forget the staff report number, but the report that was delivered up last month, still valid, still useful, helpful, plus we're going to add 2 to it. All right, any comment, feedback? All in favor? That carries, thank you. Okay, I've lost track of where we are. Item 2. Okay, moving on to item 2. This is another one that's been pulled. This one was pulled, I think, by Councillor Nishikawa with a second by Councillor McIntyre. I'll read the resolution and then we'll come back and ask for the justification. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that the mayor and council adopt and enact the June 12, 2025 Planning Committee Action Item 3 as follows. That zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA-08/25 amended bracket Hamilton and Longueuil be denied. So, Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you. I'm asking specifically just to this go back to planning. There was some new information that I was aware of, as well as some other interesting things that we put in place during our conversations and things. And I'm just asking for this to go back to planning and give an opportunity for the applicant to have further discussions with their neighbors as well as what can and happen. So I've had this conversation with our CAO, so I got the right direction and that's all I'm asking, simple as that.
So there was a change of facts or circumstances that
Yes,
might yield a different result we
Yeah.
want to reconsider.
thank you.
Anybody have any other comments or questions on it? No? Do I need to have anything to do with this? All right, so I'm going to read a replacement that tries to capture that issue. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that action item 3 from the June 12, 2025 Planning Committee meeting be referred back to the August Planning Committee meeting for further deliberation. So it's August planning, next month planning. Councillor Zavitz.
Thank you, through you. So I can't really vote on this either way unless I have more information, and I don't have that in front of me, and I don't want to drag it out like we just did. But how do we vote either way on that issue when it was a month ago and I don't have any of it in front of me?
Well, let me perhaps go back to Councillor Nishikawa. Can we generally summarize? I don't want to go into detail of it, but it's what's shifted, what changed?
Again, lot creation, like there's a lot to go over, and I really feel that it needs to go in front of committee to have this conversation. Because staff, again, will be better able to deal with those questions that have come up. And all I'm asking is for this applicant's application to come forward again. They were given the option of reapplying, when really that wouldn't be necessary, is what I'm saying. And it's not an approval I'm looking for right now or anything. I'm just looking to give the applicant another opportunity because of also conversations with their neighbor.
I was going to ask if there's a change of heart at all between with either the applicant or the neighbor or both.
There's
That might lead
that
to
sort
something
of
more
thing.
amicable.
Everybody's going to get along is
Right.
basically what we're trying to get.
So Councillor Zavitz, is that sufficient to answer your question? We'll see. Good. Anyone else with a question or comment? No, I have read the resolution. I will call the question. All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Put that down for next month planning. Okay, number 3. All right, next up. Still, I think we're still on the consent agenda, right? Yes. Consent matters of the consent, aren't we? Oh, right. Okay. Oh, you're doing it. Okay. Okay. Okay, next item is 8A, and it's a motion of council that relates to the municipal ice storm assistance resolution that I believe we are dealing with from last month. And I'm going to invite Director Peroski to explain why.
Thank you. And I may refer this to Director Donald, but there was a report. Donaldson, sorry. I was on to my next thought. There was a report that came forward last month to pass a resolution so that we could apply for funding, provincial funding from the ice storm. A few days later, the province introduced a different form of funding, and they require the resolution to note that new form of funding. So this is just administrative.
Thank you for that. I'm going to read the resolution. It's not short. Moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Burry. Whereas the Township of Muskoka Lakes recently experienced a significant ice storm event on March 29 and 30, 2025, and whereas the Township has incurred eligible costs directly linked to the March 2025 ice storm, and whereas the Township passed Resolution C-7-11/06/25, requesting the activation of the Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance (MDRA), and whereas on June 19, 2025, the province announced the launch of the Municipal Ice Storm Assistance (MISA) program for specific one-time financial support for incremental costs related to the ice storm in place of MDRA. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes hereby requests assistance under the Municipal Ice Storm Assistance Program, and that Mark Donaldson, Director of Financial Services Treasurer, be delegated authority to verify and attest to the accuracy of the application package. All right, any questions? I'll call it. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay. We're on to other items of business. Number 10A is relating to a chiller, or a chiller plate, actually. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good afternoon, Council. Yes, unfortunately, today's report is in regards to a small refrigerant leak in the plates of the chiller at the Bala Arena. As such, we are looking to create a new capital project for 2025 to repair the chiller plates themselves. To help offset the costs, staff have identified a few smaller capital projects that were included in 2025 for the arena that upon further review, we feel we could do in staff or defer to 2026. To help offset the costs to repair the chiller. As the chiller is required to make the ice for the upcoming season, time is a priority. And as such, we would recommend immediate replacement and awarding the project to Black & Mac Limited to complete the work. Black & Mac is trusted by the township and our staff and have been doing the work on our plants for 10 plus years and know our systems inside and out. So we have no concerns or worries that way. So with that, Your Worship, I'll turn it over for any questions.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody with questions? Yes, sir. Councillor Zavitz.
Thank you. Through you to Corey. So in the funding section here, you refer to those items which would either be deferred or put aside and or done by staff this year. Could you isolate the items that would actually be done by staff this year? I didn't read it maybe properly, but
yep,
if you would, please. Thank you.
Mr. Moore.
Yeah, through you, Chair. We had a company come and look at the two dressing rooms regarding the air ventilation and the surface mold that was found. This is common in facilities with concrete and not a lot of air circulation. So they had no concerns with staff completing the removal of that with just typical cleaning, household cleaning products. And we've had the vents within those change rooms, the fans changed. As it relates to the roof repairs, we had a roof company come in to look at those for us as well too, to determine what the long-term effects would be if we kind of did more short-term patchwork, and they were totally okay with that and didn't have any concerns either, and of staff being able to complete those. As for the cracks, we could defer those. They've been there for a couple of years now, and obviously staff don't have a concern with those for the upcoming season, and we know we're looking at the arenas long term, so hopefully we come to a solution before maybe needing those anyways. So yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else with a question? I'll read the resolution. Moved by Councillor Bosenworth, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that council approve an amendment to the 2025 capital budget to include the Bala Arena Chiller Plate Replacement Project as per details in staff report OPS-2025-043, and that the 2025 capital budget be amended to cancel projects 25007-PC Arena Mold Removal Room 6, 25008-PC Arena Rooftop Unit Ceiling / Roof Repairs, 25011-PC Arena, I assume PC is Port Carling Arena Ice Surface Slab Crack Ceiling, 25016 - Arena Mold Removal Room 5, and 25017 Bala Arena Unit Ceiling Roof Repairs in the total amount of $50,000 to create Project 25142 - Bala Arena Chiller Plate Replacement with a budget of $50,000. And that Black and McDonald Ltd be sole sourced as per bylaw 2004-161 to complete the work. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. All right, I think Mr. Sopko, you're on, are you? For a couple here? You're going to start with road resurfacing.
Yes, good afternoon, Council. So the report for you today provides an overview of a joint tender issued by the District of Muskoka for hot mix asphalt resurfacing on various roads within the township and within the district. The township does have a small amount of hot mix asphalt resurfacing this year, and the work was included in this tender. The township projects that are identified this year can be completed within the approved budgets, and district staff are recommending award to the lowest bidder, and township staff require authority to approve or authority to participate in the tender and execute the tender documents. With that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Any questions? I'll read the resolution. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that the township's participation in the district contract for road resurfacing on township roads in the amount of $177,041.43, taxes excluded, be approved, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute all necessary documents to proceed with participation in the contract. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. All righty. I think, Mr. Sopko, you're on slurry seal.
So this report is an update on the award of the township's 2025 slurry seal program. Staff had previously reported to council in April that the district contract would be extended based on CPI increase. However, following that meeting, the district opted to repost the tender this year, and updated pricing has been provided. 2 bids were received for the work, and a summary of the township roads included have been provided in the report before you. Although there would note there is a slight increase from what had previously been reported, it's confirmed that all the projects can be completed within the available budget. District staff are recommending award, and again, township requires approval to participate in the tender. With that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Anyone with a question? Councillor Zavitz and Councillor Nishikawa.
Thank you. It's for you to Tim. So the Torrance Road piece, it seems we're delayed. I don't know, it just seems later than what we've experienced in Torrance, Keeler Road, some other roads that we've done with this same type of construction. So when we approve this today, when would the slurry seal be actually applied to Torrance Road as we're essentially in the end of July?
Through you, the contract hasn't been awarded through the district yet, I understand, but they're doing that in this next round of meetings as well. Typically, the slurry seal does get applied anytime in July or August, depends on the year, depends on the contractor's schedule. I would expect that for this work, there are temperature requirements for slurry seal, so it certainly will be before it's out of spec.
Thank you, through Tim. I'm just curious if there is a better way to if this should have come forward to us earlier, and like mostly, how do we improve things at district that don't seem to be held up by another month having to come to the township? Again, all of the timing thing is, could we do better is what I'm trying to get at. And I'm not saying it might not necessarily be from your department, but is there any way that district councilors can ask for things to be done more efficiently, I guess?
Mr. Sopko, you want to tackle that one?
For you, I think, I mean, I would suggest, yes, this report is coming, we're coming with an update. It's now July, mid-July. Typically, slurry seal, like we have had years where it hasn't occurred within August. That sort of thing depends on what the program needs are district-wide. Sometimes there's more needs and they kind of start from one area of the district, work their way through, and they get it all done when it's within the temperature spec. So I'd say from that regard, in terms of the schedule, it's not that unusual from other years. Definitely if the question is more related to re-tendering versus accepting a CPI increase, I think my understanding of it is that it was flagged as a concern from legal department internally. They've since identified that the new tender, they've passed it through and vetted it where they're going to be able to take this approach next year and the following years, which I would suggest is more efficient. So that's all I know of it. So that's what I can offer up. Okay.
Thank you for that. Anyone other questions? No, I'm going to read. I haven't read this, have I? No. I'll read this one. Moved by Councillor Bosenworth, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved that council authorize the township's participation in the district contract for the supply and application of slurry seal in the amount of $266,574, taxes excluded, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with participation in the contract. Any comments or questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Okay, next up, Gross Road Culvert material.
Hey, the final report I have for you today, Council, is to authorize the advanced purchase of culvert materials for the Gross Road culvert replacement project. As Council will recall, this project is being completed in response to an unplanned culvert failure that occurred this past spring, and the road has been closed ever since the culvert failure occurred. The tender for the work has been issued now, and we expect to be coming with a request to award this contract at the next council meeting. So likely in August is the plan as of right now. Typically, the supply of the culvert material will be included in the tender and it'd be on the contractor to order the material. But due to the longer lead times associated with this material, staff have opted to come with approval for pre-purchase so that we can accelerate the timelines and get the work done this construction season. That available for any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Anyone with a question on this matter? Seeing none, I'm going to read a resolution. Moved by Councillor Zabit, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved, the council approves the award of a contract to Armtech Inc. in accordance with Canoe Procurement Group Contract CAN-2022-018-ARM for the supply and delivery of culvert materials for the Gross Road Culvert Replacement Project for the total purchase price of $240,295.20 plus HST, and that the Director of Operational Services be authorized to execute the necessary documents to proceed with this contract. Any comments, questions? I'll call it. All in favor? That's great. Thank you very much. That carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sopko. Okay. Director Colucci, you're speaking to level of service final report.
Good afternoon, Council. So the report before you is the final approval of the level of service study and financial report as approved at the General Finance Committee meeting on June 23rd. I think the report is self-explanatory, so I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Terrific. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Nope, I'm seeing none. I will read a resolution moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that the asset levels of service report attached as Appendix 1 to report OPS-2025-041 be approved, and that staff be directed to update and bring back the asset management plan to include the approved asset levels of service and financial strategy to a future meeting for approval. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Director Colucci. Right, what's happening now? Zoning bylaws, is that where we are? Okay. Okay, good. Ms. Walker, we're talking about Watkinson and I'm told you're it. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor Kelly, and good afternoon, members of council. So as council may recall, zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 0425 in the name of Watkinson was heard by Planning Committee in May and was then given first and second reading by council in June. Third reading of the bylaw was withheld for a further analysis by Beacon Environmental regarding a buffer/setback from a swamp on the subject property. Staff have worked with Beacon and the agent, and a 10-meter or 33-foot buffer has been proposed by Beacon, and staff are satisfied with the recommendation. The bylaw is therefore being brought forward today for a minor amendment for an exemption from section 4.1.3 to impose the 10-meter setback from the wetland, excluding a leaching bed distribution pipe in an existing driveway in this location, and any necessary revisions will be made to Schedule 2 of the bylaw. The bylaw is therefore in front of you for third and final reading today. I have no other comments, but I'm happy to assist with any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody with any questions? No? Go ahead. Okay, I will read this one first. Oh, minor amendment. I'll read the minor amendment first, moved by Councillor Mazan, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved, the Township Council amend bylaw 2025-064 bracket Watkinson, roll number 5-7-047-04. And these amendments are minor in nature and do not require further public circulation and are hereby approved prior to third reading. The amendments shall consist of adding an exemption from section 4.1.3 of Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 2014-14 to impose a 10-meter bracket 32.8 foot bracket setback from a wetland, excluding a leaching bed distribution pipe and an existing driveway, together with any necessary revisions to Schedule 2. Any questions on that one? All right, all in favor? That carries. Thank you very much. And then we have the easy one, moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-064 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket Watkinson, roll number 5-6-047-04 be read a third time and finally passed. All in favor? That carries as well. Thank you very much. Okay, we got one here with just a couple of resolutions, no minor amendments, no presentation. Moved by Councillor Zabitz, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-077 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket 1-000-336210 Ontario Inc., roll number 5-6-044 be read a first and second time. Any questions on this? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. And next one is moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-077 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket 1-000-336210 Ontario Inc., roll number 5-6-044 be read a third time and finally passed. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay, another one with no presentation. By Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-078 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket Ruse and Vanderslyke, roll number 8-12-019 bracket, be ready first and second time. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. And then moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-078 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket Ruse and Vanderslyke, roll number 8-12-019, be ready third time and finally passed. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Ms. Crowder, you're on with a minor amendment on Stienstra.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly. Good afternoon, members of council. As council may recall, zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 1625 in the name of Stienstra was heard by Planning Committee on June 12th, 2025, where committee recommended that the application be approved. However, recommended that third reading be withheld until such time as a satisfactory plan is received by a qualified Ontario land surveyor, confirming that the proposed dwelling plus a 15-foot envelope from the foundation wherein site alteration is permitted to occur in accordance with the township's site alteration bylaw is situated above the 221.68 meters above sea level floodline elevation. However, acknowledging that site alteration considerations should be dealt with through the site alteration bylaw, and considering that as part of the building process, the applicant will need to demonstrate that the dwelling is above the floodline elevation, staff are comfortable with the application receiving third reading today, provided it is made clear through the bylaw that the proposed dwelling shall be situated above a floodline elevation of 221.68 meters above sea level. Staff have no further comments at this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions from council.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Crowder? Nope. Seeing none, I will read a couple of things, a couple of resolutions here. Moved by Councillor Mazan, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-079 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket Steenstra, roll number 7-7-034, be ready first and second time. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved the Township Council amend bylaw 2025-079 bracket Steenstra, roll number 7-7-034 bracket. And these amendments are minor in nature and do not require further public circulation and are hereby approved prior to third reading. The amendments shall consist of bullet that section 1.3, I call those 3 Romanelli in the whole, 3 Romanelli, be amended to require the proposed dwelling to be situated above a floodway elevation of 221.68 meters above sea level, bracket MASL, bracket. Any questions or comments on that minor amendment? All in favor? Carries. Thank you. And then finally, moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor McIntyre, be it resolved that bylaw 2025-079 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 bracket Steenstra, roll number 7-7-034, be ready third time and finally passed. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Ms. Crowder, I don't think I thank you for your presentation, but well done.
There's a new gentleman in the room.
Oh. He's Mr. Sharp. Oh, no, he's. Welcome. Okay, go ahead. You want to do an introduction, Mr. Sharp? Sure.
Through you, Mayor. Yes, thank you, Councillor Nishikawa. I have Noor Tija joining us today. Noor is a recent graduate of program at the University of Waterloo with respect to regional land use planning, and This is his first municipal planning job, so we're very excited to have him on board, and we're hoping he's going to help us, and we're going to help him by giving him as much experience as we can, and he's here on a contract, so we're excited to have him.
Excellent. Welcome. We hope your time here is well spent. You must have been sitting. I didn't see. I will read the motion moved by Councillor Bozenworth, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved that the original shore road allowance on 3 Mile Lake lying in front of Concession 7, Part Lot 18, bracket Watt, designed as Part 1 on Plan 35R-27777-Tanner-Roll 2-17-067, be declared as surplus land, and that the clerk is hereby instructed to dispose of the said property pursuant to Sections 8, 9, and 11 of the Municipal Act 2001, and that bylaw 2025-073 to stop up, close, and convey that portion of original shore road allowance designated as Part 1 on 35R-27777 be given 3 readings and finally passed. Does anybody have any questions? No? Then I'll call it. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay. That's that one. All right. So we are on to some shore road allowance sales, right? Is that right? And no presentations on these? Just, or, oh, you, just for questions, same thing. Okay. Okay, next resolution moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that the original shore road allowance on 9 Mile Lake lying in front of Concession 13, Lot 17 and 18, bracket Wood, designated as Part 1 on Plan 35R-27650-Williams-Roll 8-10-043, be declared as surplus land, and that the clerk is hereby instructed to dispose of the said property pursuant to Sections 8, 9, and 11 of the Municipal Act 2001, and that bylaw 2025-074 to stop up, close, and convey that portion of original shore road allowance designated as Part 1 on 35R-27650 be given 3 readings and finally passed. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay. Same thing. Which one? Oh, deeming bylaw. Okay. No presentation. Same story. Moved by Councillor Bozenworth, seconded by Councillor Burry. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-076, being a bylaw to deem Lot 4A on Plan M-242 in the former Township of Wood, now in the Township of Muskoka Lakes, District Municipality of Muskoka, being a lot on a plan of subdivision, is hereby deemed not to be a lot on a plan of subdivision for the purposes of Section 50, Sub 3 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, Williams, Roll number 8-10-043, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Questions? All in favor? That carried. Thank you. Agreement. So we'll just go out of order and come back. All right, we're going to skip number 4 and come back to it in a couple of minutes. We're going to move on to number 5, which is bylaw 2025-081. No presentation again. I'm going to read this one. Moved by Councillor McIntyre, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-081, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-185, being a bylaw to establish and appoint private citizens as members to the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, bylaw 2022-187, being a bylaw to appoint members to the Property Standards Committee for the Corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, and to set appropriate remuneration, bylaw 2022-188, being a bylaw to appoint fence viewers for the Corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, and bylaw 2025-027, being a bylaw to appoint members to the Appeals Committee of the Corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Not repeating that one. Anyone with any comments, questions? All in favor? That carried. Thank you. Okay. Keep moving or wait for. No. Coming right now. We're going to go back to number 4, license agreement Harlock Broniak. Right? Okay. Resolution moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Bosenworth. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-080, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute and affix the corporate seal to a license agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Muskoka Lakes and David Harlock and Beverly Broniak, be given 3 readings and finally pass. Any questions? All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Oh, right. We just forgot about those. We have a couple of supplementary agenda items. No presentations on these. We're just going to read through them, work through them. The first one is agenda item 11.B.6, moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-082, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2012-148, being a bylaw to license, regulate, and govern zoos and wildlife sanctuaries within the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Okay, I've read it. Anybody have any questions? Perfect. Then I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Next one up. That was all right. Next one up is moved by Councillor Burry, seconded by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-083, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2010-032, being a bylaw to license, regulate, and govern tourist camps and trailer camps within the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Any questions? Councillor Bosenworth.
Thank you. My understanding, these are administrative. Perhaps the clerk could update us a little bit on what that is.
Director Porosky, could you please?
Thank you. Yes, so there was a report that came to Planning Committee last month from the Chief Bylaw Enforcement Officer in regards to the AMPS bylaw. And then these were all from that report. If there's any specific questions, I'll direct it to Director Huff, but they're administrative based on that report.
I couldn't recall. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Okay, this is the last one on the supplementary. It's item 11.B.8. Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor McIntyre. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025 sorry. Bylaw 2025
Yes.
So take out. So it's bylaw 2025. Take this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Be it resolved that bylaw 2025-084, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2023-048, a bylaw to implement an administrative monetary penalty system in the Township of Muskoka Lakes, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed. All in favor? That carried. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put us in closed, and then I'm going to walk out. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Kent. Be it resolved, the council in closed session convene at 2:17 p.m. for A, a land acquisition matter and under the exemption of a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And that's section 239 sub 2 sub C of the Municipal Act 2001. And there is a confidential report CCS-2025-13 from the Land and Agreements Coordinator. Any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you. So we're going into closed. That carried, by the way, going into closed. I'm going to go